Hello mathematicians, today's objective is students will be able to identify, and I'm writing mine up above because I know I'm going to be out of room, identify, comma graph, and write equations of parallel lines, and make sure you get that spelling correct. Okay. Alright, parallel lines. First of all, the definition of parallel lines is that the lines never intersect. Okay, and the synonym for intersect is the lines never cross. Okay, the lines never cross each other. Pictures of this, and again, I'm not going to be able to draw mine perfectly, but if you have two lines that are straight lines that never intersect, okay, you can almost think about it as like railroad, lines. Like those lines never intersect. They stay the same distance apart the entire time. Okay? Alright, I'm excited about this lesson because this lesson really is a discovery lesson. And what I mean by discovery lesson is that by following the steps that we provided you, you really should be able to discover the rules for parallel lines without us having to teach you at all. Okay? And you're going to do that. You just really have to make sure in this lesson that you hit pause a lot, because I'm going to tell you to, do a part, hit pause, do a part, and then you can check your answer with mine. If you just wait for me to do it for you, you're not going to learn, and you're definitely not going to remember this lesson down the road. Okay? So, let's get started with this first part. It says to find the slope of each line. Okay, line AB. And again, we can call a line, this would look something like this. I'm just going to draw it up here. It would be like line AB. Okay, that's just the name of it. Okay, I want you guys to find the slope of each of these lines and then come down here and answer this. So you're going to do these two things. Okay, so go ahead and hit pause now. Do those two things. Okay, you should have this. I'm going to walk through this very quickly. So this is x1, y1. This is x, y. So the 1 is the first ordered pair. The 2 is the second ordered pair. Okay, so whenever you need to find the slope given 2 points, all you have to do is use the formula m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so then use parentheses so that you don't make a mistake on signs. y2 is right here. Okay, it's negative 2 minus, in fact, we should get in the habit of always just doing it this way. I always do it this way so I don't make sign mistakes. Okay, so negative 2 minus 4. Again, I'm going to go through this quickly. 5. That's x2 minus 3. Okay, that leaves me with negative 6 over a positive 2, which if you reduce that or simplify that all the way, the slope of this first line would give me negative 3. Okay, moving on to this second one. Okay, if you had a question about that, make sure you write a big note, with a question mark. So these two ordered pairs are x, y, x, y. This is the first ordered pair. This is the second ordered pair. How do you find the slope given 2 points? Same thing. You do m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay? Do the parentheses. That way you don't make mistakes. Put that minus sign right in between. y2 was 0. y1 was 6. And then the x2 was 8. x1 was 6. So the slope of this would be negative 6 over a positive 2. So the slope of this one would be negative 3. Okay? Alright, again, you should have the what can you conclude also done. Okay, if you have not done that, hit pause and do it now. Okay, what can you conclude about the slopes? So again, every time you read something in math or any other subject, use cups, actively read. It's asking about the slopes. Okay, and what can you conclude? Both slopes are the exact same. Okay, they're both the exact same. Okay. Alright, let's go on to this next part. Okay, it says now write the slope-intercept equation for lines A, B, and CD. Well, if we look back up here, this first one is line AB, the second one is line CD right there. So we need to write the slope-intercept equation. Well, what should be going through our head, let's go back and read this. Write the slope-intercept equation. Well, what is that equation? Anytime you read that, you should be thinking, like, as you read it, you should be thinking, oh, simple. Y equals mx plus b. Okay? So what two things do you need to write the slope-intercept equation? Well, you need the slope and the y-intercept, including the sign. Okay? Now, right up here, we already found the slope. We know that the slope of both of them is n. So now all we have to do is solve for b. Oops. All we have to do is solve for b. Let me erase that line real quick. Okay, so well, how do we solve for b? I'm going to let you guys do that. So you should hit pause right now and make sure and go back, solve for b, and write the slope-intercept equation for both of these lines. And then you can check your work with mine. So go ahead and hit pause now and do that. Okay, I'm going to show you the work again. I'm going to do this quickly. You should be checking it with mine. Now, remember, you can pick either ordered pair. But whatever ordered pair you pick, you have to stay with that one ordered pair. So if you pick one, you have to pick the x and the y from the same ordered pair. So I'm going to pick the first one because there are no negatives. I don't like negative people if I can avoid them. So y is equal to, my m was negative 3. My x was up in this ordered pair up above was 3, and then plus b. Okay, so 4 is equal to negative 9 plus b. Solving for b, I add 9, so b is equal to, let's see, that was plus, right? So that would be 13. So now I know my m, now I know my b. Y is equal to, my m was right up here, negative 3x, it's a positive b, so plus, and then 13. Okay. If we do this other equation, I'm going to pick the second ordered pair because it seems pretty easy. So y equals mx plus b. Again, you should have already done this. You're just checking your work with mine. If you made a mistake somewhere, you need to make a note of where you made that mistake. So 0 is equal to negative 3. X was 8. Plus b. Okay, so then 0 is equal to negative 24 plus b. How do I get b all by itself? Well, I need to move this negative 24 to the other side. How do I do that? I add 24. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So b is equal to 24. Okay, so my equation, y equals, my slope, again up above here, was negative 3, keep the x, and then plus 24. Okay, that's where we're at so far. Alright, let's go on to the next page. Okay, comparing the two equations on the previous page. What observations can you make about the two equations? Okay, so look back at those previous two equations, and I specifically want you thinking about how do the slopes compare and how do the y-intercepts compare. Okay, so hit pause now take a minute, write it out in words. What's similar and what's different about the slope and the y-intercept of those previous two equations. So I hit pause, do that now. Okay, what you should have said, and I'm going to shorthand it, is something like this. Okay, they have the exact same slopes. Okay, but different y-intercepts. Okay, exact same slopes, but different y-intercepts. Okay, all right, now you're going to do the next discovery part. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to graph these 2 points for line AB. And then, and connect those, okay, because that's a line. So grab a straight edge then. Once you graph these 2 points, you're going to connect them. And then what you're going to do is you're going to graph these 2 points. And you can use a different color pencil if you want. You can use the same one if you want. Okay, and then you're going to connect those 2 points. So take a second, hit pause, and do that now. Okay, you should have those 2 graphed by now, so I'm going to do it very quickly. My blue line is positive 3 and then 4, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the 1 point. My other point was 5, negative 2, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. Okay. Obviously, mine's not going to be straight because I can't do much of a straight edge on the iPad. Put in the arrows at the end, and that line is graphed. Okay, let's do, oh, hang on. We forgot one very important thing. This is line, and we should label it, this is line A, B. Okay, that is line A, B. It's important that you label it because you're not always going to have a different color utensil on test. Okay, next line, line CD, it's a positive 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then another positive 6. So up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, again, you should already have this done. Okay, and then my next point, it is 8 zeros. So that would be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 0, I don't go up, I don't go down. So it is right there. So then, if I connect those 2 points, I'm going to end up with a line that looks like this. Okay. Now, if you use a straight edge, which you should have, your lines will be a lot straighter than mine will. But what I want you doing is going on to this next part. Okay. What are these 2 lines called? Okay. You should know this. We put in our definition at the beginning of the lesson. These 2 lines are lines that never intersect. So therefore, they are called what? Make sure you write that in the blank before you listen to my answer. Okay, you should have had those 2 lines are called parallel lines. Okay? 2 lines that never intersect. Okay? Alright, let's go on to the next page. Cool. Let's make some conclusions about the slopes of parallel lines. So what was true about the slopes of parallel lines? Okay, hit pause, take a second, write that in. Again, what is true about the slopes of parallel lines? Okay, you should have had something, again, this is repeat, but to make sure that you got it down, exact same slopes. Okay. Second part, how would you describe the y-intercept of parallel lines? So if you look back at the graph, think about where, again, the y-intercept, think about where the lines crossed the y-axis. Okay. Was it in the same spot? And the answer is no. Okay. They have different y-intercepts. Okay. All right, now we're going to use these two things right here are key points. Parallel lines have the exact same slopes, and let's even kind of call those rules. That's rule number 1. They have the exact same slopes, but different y-intercepts. Now we can use those rules to help us out with these problems. Okay. All right, problem number 1 says write 2 different equations of lines that run parallel. That's so important. To the equation y equals negative 1/2 x. Explain, okay, how you know each is parallel. Okay. Well, let's think back to what we know about parallel lines. Okay. I actually want you guys to hit pause here. Give it a try. Try to write 2 equations that are parallel to this one right here. Okay, hit pause and do that. Give it a try. Okay, think about it if you have to for a while. Okay, here's one of my equations, and yours don't have to be the same at all. But one of my first equations is I'm going to do y equals negative 1/2 x plus 4. Okay, now yours doesn't have to be the exact same, but it must have this, negative 1/2 x. That must be the same. Okay, your b. Okay, your b cannot be the same as their b. And their b, okay, then we should write this above, negative 1/2 x. Well, what's their b? None showing, right? So what's their b? Well, their b is 0, which means it crosses. Where does it cross? Crosses at the origin. Okay, so all we have to do is have a b that's different. Okay, so your explanation should say something like, I know my line is parallel because it has the same slope but a different y-intercept. That's it. Okay, so you can come up with another one. Y equals negative 1/2 x. I'm going to do minus 20. Okay, same slope right there. Exact same slope, different y-intercept. Okay. All right, let's get on to some tougher problems now. Okay, problem number 2. It says to write an equation, okay, in slope-intercept form. Well, okay, this is what's going through my mind. Hope it's going through yours. That passes through 4, negative 3, and is parallel to the line described by this. Okay, I want you guys to hit pause now and really give this some thought. Look back at your notes if you need to. All you're doing is applying the rules of what we just learned to this problem. So hit pause, take some time to really try to figure this one out. Okay? Make sure you're using pencil in case you make mistakes, you can erase it. Okay? Take a minute or two and go ahead and do that. Okay, here's the way I want you thinking about this problem. Okay, and I want you to add this work to your own work if you didn't have it. All right, their equation, okay, is this one right here, right? That's theirs, okay? So what do I know about their equation in relation to mine? Well, if my line is parallel to theirs, I know that it's the same slope. So the same m, but a different b. Okay? So their m, their slope is 1/2. Okay? And I should write m equals. Their m is 1/2. Well, what do I know about mine? So my m is also 1/2. Okay, now let me clarify that again. We just said up above, we just discovered up above, that if two lines are parallel, their slopes have to be the same. They have the same rise, the same run. Okay? If their line is this one right here with a slope of 1/2, I know that my line that runs parallel to theirs, okay, is also has a slope of 1/2. Now, I don't know what the y-intercept is yet, but it also gives me slope-intercept form of my line that passes through this point. This is an x, this is a y. And I know that now that I have an x and a y and an m, I can solve and figure out what my b is. So my equation would be y equals mx plus b. Okay. Now, the y here is -3. The m, we just discovered we knew it was the same. Let's write this in. Again, if you don't have this work, get this down. Okay, even if you have to erase some years. So you may have to pause, erase some years, or just do it up above it. But you want to make sure you have this down. Okay, the x I get from up here in the ordered pair. So the x is 4. And I don't know my b. Okay, I know it's different than their 5, but I don't know what it is for sure. So I'm going to write plus b. Okay, and then we can solve. -3 is equal to, what's a half of 4? Well, a half of 4 is 2 plus b. Okay, solve for b. I have a positive 2 hanging out over here, so I subtract 2. Subtract 2. My b is equal to -5. So what is my equation now? Well, I know my m is 1/2. I know my b is -5. So what's my equation? Y equals 1/2 x minus 5. Now theirs was plus 5, but that's a big difference, right? Between a -5 and a +5. Okay, and how this would look would be something like this. If I just draw a very quick sketch of this, their equation passes at +5 and it's a slope of 1/2. So it looks something like this. Again, passes at +5 on the y-intercept. Mine though, same slope, but it crosses at -5. Okay, so this is approximately how those two equations would work. Okay, but the final answer to this, because it said write the slope-intercept equation, my final answer is this right here. Y equals 1/2 x minus 5. Okay, if you have questions, now is the time to hit pause and write those questions down. Okay, all right, let's go on to the next page. And I should say your notes may be in a little different format than mine, so you just have to find the problem, problem number 3 with the same numbers. Okay. All right, write the equation in slope-intercept format. What should be going through my head? And your head too. Y equals mx plus b. That passes through. So my line passes through point 4, -3, and is parallel to the line described by this. Okay. Now, if we think about this, I always start by thinking about what my answer should be. My answer should be the slope-intercept equation. So what two things do I need to find? I need to find the m and the b. Okay. Well, from this point, I can't really find either the m or the b, but from this equation, if I know that my equation right here, that's going to be mine, right, runs parallel. My line runs parallel to this one right here. Okay, I know that if I can figure out their slope, my slope is going to be the exact same. So how do I figure out their slope? Well, first thing I have to do is convert to slope-intercept form. Okay, you cannot, and we should write a key point on that. Okay, that we first convert to slope-intercept form. Okay, and I'm going to abbreviate. You guys need to get in the habit of abbreviating before you get to college. Okay, so I have a positive 3x hanging out over here. I need to subtract 3x. Subtract 3x. Okay, I'm left with a positive 4y is equal to 8 minus 3x. Now you could have rearranged that if you wanted and said negative 3x plus 8. And then I need to divide. Divide both of these terms by 4, by 4, by 4. So y is equal to 2 minus 3 over 4x. And then I should rewrite it to be in slope-intercept form. Y is equal to, this is a negative here, so bring it down, negative 3 over 4x. what was it? Then plus 2, because this is a positive 2 out in front. No signs there, so we know it's positive. Okay, so what is their m? Well, their m is this right here. Okay, their m is negative 3 over 4. Okay, well, I know that if my line is parallel to their line, then I know the slopes have to be the same. So mine, okay, is also negative 3 over 4. Okay, so what's my equation going to look like? Well, if I do y equals mx plus b, okay, I already know my slope. This is my m, so let's write m equals. Now I just need to find my b. Well, I know it's different than theirs. It's not this plus 2. It's got to be different. Okay, but I do have an x and a y here that it gave me. Okay, it gave me an x and a y. So I can plug in for y and x, and then again I can plug in for my m right here. So I would have negative 3 is equal to negative 3 over 4. 4 in parentheses because that's x plus b. Okay. Negative 3 is equal to negative 3 times negative, or negative 3 over 4 times 4 would be negative 3 plus b. And again, you should use your calculator on that to check, the multiplication of that fraction. How do I solve for b? Well, I need to get rid of this negative 3 hanging on the same side. So how do I get rid of a negative 3? I add 3. Add 3. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So my b is equal to 0. Okay. So now I know my m, and now I know my b. So I can answer the question. It says write the slope-intercept form. The slope-intercept form of all this, I'll write it up here, would be y equals my m is negative 3 over 4x. And then do I need to show that plus 0? Absolutely not. That's my answer. Y equals negative 3 over 4x. Now, you should always double check it. If it's parallel to theirs, it had the slopes right here, right? The slope of negative 3/4, the slope of negative 3/4 had better be the same. And they are. So we're ready to move on. Okay. All right, let's look at problem number 4. It says, let me zoom in just a hair. Try to straighten her out. Okay, it says, given the graph below, first write the slope-intercept equation. Okay, so I need to write the slope-intercept equation, which is this, y equals mx plus b, okay, of this line right there. Then, write 2 equations of lines that are parallel to the line graph. Explain how you know they are parallel without having to graph them. Okay. All right. Well, to graph or to write the slope-intercept equation of any graph, we have to find 2 things, right? We have to find the m and the b. Okay. Well, let's figure out what the m is. Okay. Actually, let's start with the b. So the b is right here where it crosses the y-axis. Looks like the b is 5 because this is 2. Should be a little bit above there. 2, 3, 4, 5. So my b is positive 5. Okay. Now my m, I need to start by finding points. So I could put a point. Remember, points are like right where the I call these crosshairs. Oops. Right where the crosshairs on the graph intersect. Has to be perfect. So there'd be a point right here. Okay, my points are kind of hard to make accurately with this. Right here. Right here. And you notice they're going to be the exact same stairs. Exact same stairs. So m is equal to rise over run. Okay, my rise is 2 units. My run is 1, which just reduces to 2. So the equation of this line is y equals, my slope was 2x, and then plus 5. Okay. So how do I write 2 equations that are parallel to this one? Simple. Same slope. Create your own y-intercept. It doesn't say anything about any other points that it goes through. So all you have to do is have an equation that's y equals 2x, and then you can pick plus or minus any number. I'm going to pick minus 100. Okay, obviously that's not going to fit on this graph, the y-intercept of negative 100, but it is parallel to this line because it has the same slope, different y-intercept. Oh, let's just also do y equals 2x, and we can, what do you want to do, plus, let's just do plus 3, because plus 3 is right here, so that plus 3 line, and don't draw this, I'm just showing you, this line right here would look about like that, where it runs parallel, and that was really ugly, but you get the point. It runs parallel to it. Okay. All right. I want you guys to, on your own, for homework, okay, try the guided practice problems. Okay, we'll leave the homework problems for class to practice, but try the guided practice problems on your own. See how you do with these, and look back to these examples. They're very similar to the guided practice problems. Okay. Now, one last thing again, make sure you write down any questions that you have before class, that way you come with very specific questions. Okay, awesome job. Thank you.